G'day YouTube, down to Bricks here, and welcome to this week's video on my custom pirate ship built from the creator set 31109. Now, I had so much fun a couple of weeks ago building all three builds from that set, all the filming and showcasing, putting that video out. I just had a heap of fun, had a real ball doing all that. And I'd really encourage you to go and watch that video. I'll put a card up so you can go and check it out because it really leads in to this video today. So after that, I was really excited to get in and customize my own pirate ship and address some of the issues I had with the pirate ship from that set, namely the overall size of it and the bow of the ship. So they were the main things I focused on when coming up with this custom ship. And I kind of got a little bit tired of just calling it the pirate ship. So I kind of think you just got to look into a little bit, what would this pirate ship do? And I think now with the extra masts and sails and the narrow beam of this ship, I really think it's like a hit and run pirate ship. So they get in there, they get their bounty, they get their loot, they get their pieces of 8, and then they get the hell out of there, and they're so quick that no one can catch them. They're gone like the wind. So I enlisted the help of my good mate Scotty to help me name this pirate ship, and he had a great idea where he based his suggestions over the red-haired mermaid figurehead of the ship, and he came up with the Red Wind, and I love that name. So here is the Red Wind. So with the build of this set, basically it was just taking an extra center piece. As I said in the previous video, the whole ship is built in 3 sections. You build the midsection, then you build the bow, you attach the bow, you build the stern and you attach the stern, and you've basically got your whole hull, and then you build up your sails. So what I did is I really just added an extra center piece into the ship. Now, it wasn't quite that simple. It wasn't as hard as what I originally thought it was going to be. And again, putting the 2 halves together, and then just some extra sloping and tiles down the side just to join it all up. But the trickiest part of all that was positioning this extra mast. Now, originally I had it all perfectly spaced. I had 14 studs from rear sail to mid sail, 14 studs to the front sail. Didn't quite come together because I had to allow enough room for all this rigging. So I've actually had to move it back 1 stud. So the spacings are a little bit out, but when you're looking at it just like this, I mean, you really don't even notice it. So I'm quite fine with that. So with the bow of the ship, this is where I had the most challenge and the most fun with this custom build. And it was basically looking at the snot technique that Lego used to build this bow, and they built it with 4 of these curved reddish brown pieces here, building those 4 high. So if I replicated that to come up high, I would have had to come another 4 higher, and I just felt that was a little bit too high. So I've only gone another 2 high, but I did actually bring them out an extra couple of studs as well, just to help narrow that bow a little bit. So I had to fudge a few things to make that work, and it's not exactly perfect, but I think it really does add to the look of the ship, because I mean, basically a ship like this probably wouldn't have been perfect when they built it anyway. So I think that adds to the appeal a little bit, and it also allowed me to fill in this front section here as well to actually close it in. So I think that adds to the look of the ship as well. So with the major changes, that's about it. Really, the rest was just some cosmetic changes. Definitely adding a little bit more detail here and there. The rear of the ship, the captain's quarters, everything about it is exactly the same as the Lego build. I just basically removed that whole section, worked on the ship. When I was done, just bolted that straight back on, or clipped it back on. And yeah, so it's exactly the same. One of the things I love doing with my pirate ships is decking them out with cannons. And because I had 3 copies of the set, means I had 6 cannons to use. So I've got all 4 cannons down the side. Don't they look awesome? And 2 extra cannons when I tried to put them on the opposite side, because the width of the ship is so narrow, it's actually quite tight fitting them in. You can fit them in, but they don't exactly clip in perfectly, but you can have them in there. As for pieces for this set, as you saw in my previous video, I had a stack of pieces left over from the 3 builds, but it still wasn't enough. Enough's not the right word. I did have enough, but I didn't have exactly the right pieces, so I did have to pull the pirate in apart to get the pieces I needed to put this together. So I did try to really only use the pieces that came with the set. Of course, here and there I thought, I think a better piece to use would be a such and such. So I'd grab a piece here and there out of my kitty, but it wasn't until I really got to the extra mast, doing this rigging section here, which was one of the changes that I made, was with these rigging pieces to use 3 of those for this mast rigging, and I really think that adds to this build so much. It's a huge improvement, just adding 1 more over having the 2 from the official Lego set. What I am missing is the bracing across the mast, and again, it's using this piece. As much as I love this piece, it's a little bit rigid in its usage, because you have to have your spacing exactly perfect to make them work. Whereas if you use a bit of string, you can string it across. It's much easier to use the string. So I actually left any cross bracing between the masts out, and there might be a little bit of weight on the mast here. I don't think it really takes away from the look at all. In fact, I did do some cross bracing with these, and because of the type of piece they are, it just looked too much. Where if it was thin string, it would be fine, but having more of these rigging pieces all over the ship just really took away from it. So I end up removing a lot of that and just having it going a more simple look for the build. So with the mast rigging and sails, this is where the pieces came into that I did have to use quite a few of my own pieces out of my kitty. So this top section here, I had to use extra clip plates, the twin clip plates here, and some 3 long bars as well, just to attach the 3 pieces of rigging. So I did have to use my own pieces there. And then with this top section of the sail, so I don't know if you've noticed, but this top section here, it was just cut off straight like that before. We didn't have this piece here in the previous build, and I'll try and cut in some other footage so we can see some of the changes that I have made. So these pieces here, I did have to use some of my own 2x3 plates just to build this up a little bit more. The way that I've attached it to the sail, that's all my own pieces as well. So I did have to use some of my own pieces. Again, down here I filled this corner section out a little bit more just by changing the hinge plate, or the side plate here that they used. I used a 2x4 plate and then attached a 1x4 white plate there, just to widen that a little bit more and just make it look like a more full sail to what it was before. And I totally understand people would say a cloth sail or paper sails or whatever would look much better, but I kind of like what I've done here to improve on these sails, and I'm actually quite happy sticking with the brick built sails just for this ship. One of the other changes I made as well is I did actually heighten this middle sail as well. So this mid sail is actually 2 studs taller than the other 2, than the stern and bow sail as well. I also didn't stick with the philosophy of having everything in a creator set all brick built. So I did add some molded flags up the top here. I did add this awesome pirate flag. I love this piece, and I had to get another one for a previous pirate ship that I built. So I actually ordered an extra one, so I was glad I did. So I had one for this ship, and I did use some ladders here and that as well, just to add to the detail a little bit. And speaking of detail, this is where I had some fun with it, because I really feel like this is a really successful pirate ship, and it's full of loot and good times. So I wanted to show that off in some of the detail as well. It's always fun on a project like this when you get the main project finished and you get to just deck it out with minifigures, add some more detail. And I love this selection of minifigs that we got with the creator set. So we got a good crew going on here. They're very happy. As I said, it's full of loot, full of good times. Speaking of good times, we have our beer barrel up the front here. Now that just came straight from the inn. I think I changed it maybe a fraction, but we've got our beer barrel there. Down below there's another barrel there with some mugs so they can just help themselves straight off the tap. We've got a chest in behind the ladder here, so you've got a ladder you can get up to the top. Some of these lanterns were off the inn as well, just added those on for a bit more detail. It has a gantry as well here, so they can swing this across onto other ships or onto the docks and load the ship up. These guys are at the ready with the cannons, ready to attack. In the back there we've got another barrel. It's very hard to get in there. Let's bring it around this side. There's a barrel down in there with all their swords ready to go. A spare chain. Got stairs leading up to the top deck here with the captain in the captain's quarters. There's another chest down in there. As I said, very successful pirate ship is the Red Wind. Has a real reputation. So after doing the comparison with the official Lego pirate ship to the Black Pearl, I had to do it again now with these changes. And as you can see, it's a lot longer now. Actually, the overall length is probably much the same, but the actual structure of the hull is a lot longer than the Black Pearl. So as I said last week, the Black Pearl's 800 pieces. The ship, the official Lego ship, was around 1,300 pieces. I would estimate now that it's around 2,000 pieces. So yes, lots of pieces. To think that's a 2,000 piece pirate ship. But yeah, it's pretty impressive next to the Black Pearl now. I think, of course, you're never really going to compete with these big, beautiful sails, are you, with brick-built sails? But I still think it's pretty impressive. And if we come around to the front here, you can see you don't have that stubby nose that we had before on the official Lego set. So I'm very happy now with these few changes that I've made for it to become the Red Wind. So there we go, folks, the Red Wind. What do you think of the name of the ship? What do you think of the ship itself? Did I do it right? Let me know in the comments. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more pirates, Western, Star Wars, city, maybe one day we'll get back to the city, and lots more Lego, you got to hit that subscribe button, because that's the only way you're guaranteed to see more. But a big thank you for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.